Hello there, Site-42 staff, as well as those of you from the greater SCP Foundation community. And welcome to another Dr. Sherman's Office Hours, a subsidiary of the anomalous broadcast from Site-42. As always, I am Dr. Theron Sherman, Site Director here at Site-42 of the SCP Foundation. And as I have done for the last 10 months and counting, because the daily stream streak must remain strong, I'm here to open my office doors to you, the SCP Foundation staff, to answer your burning questions about this dark and mysterious place of employment we all call the SCP Foundation. So whether you have questions about the anomalies we contain, the staff that contain them, the groups of interest who try to stop us from containing them, or hypothetical containment procedures about anomalies that fall outside of the SCP Foundation's purview, perhaps they're from a different multiverse or pataphysical narrative level, i.e. fandom. Either way, we are here for the next 2 hours, 2.5 to 3 hours if we're feeling zesty, but we'll start with 2 hours and see how today goes. But before I begin the general Q&A, let me begin with a little bit of housekeeping. First and foremost, Lucas, the intern. Congratulations on being our #1 most punctual member of today's Containment Hazard Assessment team, i.e., congratulations on being first chatter. Then, Amber, Songs of the Pack, Dr. Frogman, not a Chaos Insurgency spy, Drowsy, Senior Researcher Alex, Stephen Tambari, Captain Evil Greasy John, Titanborn, Aoki, 100 Stars Love, 369 Destroyer. Everyone whom I have just named, thank you for being here punctually, and thank you for being members of Site-42 on YouTube. We appreciate your service and your membership to help us win the battle against the white names. Furthermore, today we are sponsored, but not by ourselves. Today we are sponsored by the SCP Foundation immersive board game, Escape from Site-19. Now, for those of you who are unfamiliar with what Escape from Site-19 is, let me give you a quick rundown. These friends of the channel, Escape from Site-19, the SCP board game, are an immersive board game. This is the board game mat. This is the container it comes in, with hundreds of different tasks and cards, all of which artistically made and sometimes modeled by real human beings in costumes and makeup. It is essentially an SCP Foundation board game combined with an escape room. You are trying to escape a containment breach at Site-19, and along the way, you are asked to do physical challenges to survive, some of which get downright diabolical. Some of which, when I'm playing the game, I actively cause our team to lose because I will not do them. So, if you ask me if this game is pretty intense, this game is pretty intense. Furthermore, as I said, they are putting real people into these costumes and makeup to make these cards. They are not using artificial intelligence, which we love, and many SCP articles have had updated photographs from the team at Escape from Site-19. So these guys are putting together and bettering the community through their work, which is always just a bonus. Now, if you are interested in trying out the Escape 19, today's sponsorship is to get you to sign up for their Game Found campaign. Right now, it is in the following phase, so we are not ready for the actual campaign. This is a preview segment. Everybody who follows this will receive a follower's gift. So hey, go follow them. That sounds like a good thing to start with. They are currently going to be crowdfunding the Polish expansion pack. The Polish expansion pack means, first and foremost, that the entire game will be translated to Polish. That's going to be the second language they release in, I believe. They started with English, now they're moving on to Polish. Furthermore, there is a Polish expansion pack that includes more tasks, more cards, another character, And in this pack, it will also be in English, so we can enjoy that in the English version as well. What you are seeing here is that we are spreading the game not just to various languages, but also to various branches of the SCP community. So this is coming from the Polish branch. Perhaps if this goes well and they continue, we can have the Chinese branch intervene. We can have SCPs from the Japanese branch. And so I love the idea of this game getting to go international and expose us to more SCP Foundation content from the international branches. So, thank you to Escape from Site-19, the board game, for supporting and sponsoring Site-42 streams, and make sure to head to the link in our description or our pinned chat to follow the Game Found campaign and get your free gift. Thank you so much to everybody for supporting the SCP community at large. And now, on to our stream subject. Once we are finished with the stream subject, we will continue with the general Q&A as usual. Now, before I do that, Space Wolves Doom Division. Thank you for subscribing to Site-42. Welcome to staff. Now, you all have been paying attention to the fact that we have been supporting a couple of Kickstarters lately. A couple of SCP Foundation Kickstarters. The first of which is SCP Eye of the Beholder Season 1. SCP Eye of the Beholder is an SCP original audio narrative podcast. It has a great cast, good editing and sound effects. The story sounds like an interesting hook. I would like to see the end of the season and see what these people can put together, especially because supporting small projects like these audio podcasts can lead these people to the resources, connections, and all-around strength to make bigger and better projects in the future. Your audio podcast creators eventually become the animators or the live-action filmmakers of the future. So, why don't we help these people out and get this podcast growing? Furthermore, of course, we have SCP Gallionic, bumping up right against $200,000. Oh! Live on stream we watched it happen, people. Did you see? Is that not beautiful? So, SCP Gallionic, otherwise we've been calling it SCP the Anime, is still on its way to reaching its full 20-minute glory. This has to be $280,000 and change to get that 20-minute full treatment. And it has to be a lot more than that if we want to get the prize that everyone really wants, which is... Where is it? Where is it? Where's that audio? Ah, there's the dub. The Ghost Stories dub needs to be around $350 to $360K. So, with that in mind, continue to keep sharing SCP Gallionic with everybody. We need SCP the Anime. If they can get this 20-minute short, if they succeed, if it's profitable, then that means we are that much closer to SCP the Anime series. We got to work our way here, people. We're making our way. If you can fund it, fund it. If you can't fund it, share it. You know your orders. Mobile Task Force Psi-42, codename Signal Boosters. But that is not the only reason that we are talking about this today. You see, thanks to some networking in the community, Oh My has a new opportunity for SCP the Anime, as well as others, come to light. You see, another SCP project that's coming up, Keter Labs' SCP Containment Breach, the movie. Well, Keter Labs, they played their 10-minute short on the festival circuit. They went to a couple film festivals. Isn't that cool? SCP Foundation being represented at film festivals. Isn't that prestigious? Isn't that one nice? Hold on one second. Thank you, Javaname, for the alert. Much appreciated. So, as I was saying, Keter Labs showed SCP Containment Breach the movie, the pitch, as I'm calling it, on the festival circuit. And they made the effort to reach out to a group called Decentralized Pictures. First of all, Decentralized Pictures, otherwise known as the DCP Foundation. You're saying that the SCP Foundation is teaming up with the DCP Foundation. Interesting. Interesting. Not a coincidence at all. Not a ironic and yet perfectly fit situation there. Decentralized Pictures, for those of you who don't know, is a non-profit in Hollywood that was founded by the Coppola siblings. If you're unfamiliar with the Coppola siblings, they are a film dynasty in Hollywood. As in, I'm talking about the children of Francis Ford Coppola, director of the fricking Godfather. Okay? Sofia Coppola, the other Coppola kids, they're all in the industry. They're all making their own projects. You've heard of at least some Coppola productions. The family is crazy in that way. Now, they funded this Decentralized Pictures as a way to help indie developers in the film space, in the media creation space, with grants, with inside knowledge from the SCP Foundation. You are correct. Nicolas Cage is a Coppola. Changed the last name to not coast on the coattails, if I remember correctly. But yes, Nick Cage is a Coppola. Let's not forget about that. So, Keter Labs reached out to DCP. DCP has set with Keter Labs a stretch goal on their upcoming Kickstarter to Containment Breach the movie. That if not just enough to make Containment Breach the feature film, the live-action feature film for SCP Containment Breach, but if they get beyond a certain amount for their stretch goal, Keter Labs has promised to donate that chunk of money, that stretch goal, to a small film team to make their own live-action SCP short. And DCP has offered to match that. Meaning, if Keter Labs hits that stretch goal, then we get 2 more live-action SCP short film teams making things. So already, that's pretty cool. I like to see a little bit of this Hollywood dynasty taking an interest in the SCP Foundation space. But it doesn't stop there, people, because this coming Monday, allow me to tell you, so you are aware. Right now. Shush. Shush. Here we go.
Hey everybody, Matt here from Decentralized Pictures, inviting you to a live broadcast next Monday, March 2nd, where I will be sitting down with the team from SOM Studios to talk about their project, SCP Gallionic. This project is absolutely blowing up on Kickstarter right now, so this is your opportunity to hear from the team, ask them questions, and learn more about this exciting SCP project. Click the link below, be notified when we start the broadcast, and we'll see you there.
Decentralized Pictures reached out to SOM Studios. SOM Studios, some studios is actually how you say it, but I keep saying SOM because that's the way it's spelled. Some Studios is now interviewing live on YouTube with Decentralized Pictures. Decentralized Pictures is now working with 2 different SCP teams, a live-action film and SCP the anime. Ah! Guys, we were never gone, but we're still so back. So yes, the SCP-DCP team-up is getting even stronger. SCP creators are muscling their way into the Hollywood system. We are here. We're not leaving. And Psi-42 staff, you know what that means. Mobile Task Force Psi-42, codename Signal Boosters, you know what that means. I need you to go to the Decentralized Pictures YouTube channel. I need you to find that premiere for that live stream. We gotta be there. It is 9 a.m. Pacific time, which means 12 p.m. Eastern time, United States. We need to make this happen, people. We need to flood the zone. We need to tell these people, hey, you know what? The SCP community is on board with this. And if you guys keep helping us out, well then, you're going to be really happy with the results. We need eyes. We need funding. For Gallionic, for Decentralized Pictures, for Keter Labs, Mobile Task Force Psi-42, we are at the precipice of an opportunity here. A grand opportunity. The grandest that the SCP community has seen thus far. We've had games. We've had short films. But see what we are looking toward. See our glory piercing the heavens. And so, one second. Agent Goose, reminder that members are not restricted to how many emojis they can use.
Oh, okay. I thought it was 4 for non-members and 6 for members. I learned something new.
If that's true, I did not know about it. But I'm going ahead and making the call that until death says otherwise, I'm letting it be.
Okay. Have fun with the emojis, everyone.
So, Decentralized Pictures, Mobile Task Force Psi-42 is here. We are ready. The codename Signal Boosters are on the scene. I saw that coming out of the gym, that they're doing a podcast with some studios, and I was like, oh my god. I had to tell you guys. Ba-da-da-da, ba-da, ba-da. Dr. Sherman, nah, I don't have autism. Don't worry. Meanwhile, Sherman with this very autistic-looking obsession with SCP movies. Listen, I just like art, man. I just like art. Whatever you want to classify it, that's between you and your classification god. You're weird as fuck. You're damn right, intern upstate. And if that's a bad thing, then you're a loser for saying so. But if you're saying it in a good way, then of course we appreciate it. All right. We have made it through the stream subject, the sponsorship. Now, we move on to the general Q&A. Starting with 100 stars love. Thank you for sending a 100 to today's Containment Hazard Assessment team. I am certain they will continue to keep it 100 at your urging. Silent Follower, thank you for sending 2 100s to today's Containment Hazard Assessment team. I'm sure doubly so, they will keep it 100 for you. Songs of the Pack, thank you for sending a 100. Everyone wants to make sure, chat, that you keep it 100 today. I hope that you do so. Amber, thank you for your 27 months as a level 1 researcher here at Site42, as well as all of the other ways you support the channel. We thank you greatly for your support. We appreciate your membership and your service, having gone well above and beyond over time. And you say, safety tip, 27 is Weird Al's number. I think I knew that at one point. 27, good number. Where's desk? I don't know, intern Mata. Probably getting a varnish massage or something. Ugh. That mahogany bitch. Lanny the Demon Angel, what do you mean update on SCP Gallionic? We just opened the stream with like 10 minutes of me updating on SCP Gallionic. Is there more news? Or do you need to go back to the VOD a little bit so you can check that out? All right, let me double check if there's any notifications here so I don't lose them if they exist. Nope, we're all good. Dr. Sherman, how the SCP Foundation contain admin/Romeo from MCSM, also loving the shirt. Well, thank you for appreciating the dope shirt. I do not know what a MCSM are, or those things. Where'd your name go? There we go. So I guess let me open a browser and take a cursory look and see what we find. Admin/Romeo MCSM, Minecraft story mode. Okay. So a Minecraft thing, those are always interesting. Most powerful and dangerous enemy. Evil, powerful human who returned to the world when he heard that a new hero had arisen. Well, redeems himself for his past after losing his powers, so if he's depowered, we don't gotta worry about it. Powerful being with gray skin and red lines all over his dark gray clothing. His scleras are blazing red with yellow pupils. Definitely is not the edgiest OC to ever OC Edgley. Looking for powers and abilities. Build or destroy anything in a short amount of time. Shape-shifting. Control giant statues. Control life forms. Can levitate. Electrokinesis, telekinesis, telepathy, and mind control. Gravity alteration. The creation of clothing, matter, objects, and organisms out of thin air. Teleportation, apportation, indestructibility, immortality, and super strength. Powers can be taken away with enough hits from the golden gauntlet, so we're gonna punch it. Boom. Punch it till its powers are gone. An admin's weakness is a special word called the Word of Passage that will shut down their powers if taken to the primary terminal. Well, deities like this, that is exploration log to find the terminal, and our mobile task force would end up putting in that word and saving the day in an SCP universe version of this. Otherwise, I can always play the, hey, we've trapped other monsters in Minecraft. If it can't get out, that's not my problem. Popping back to the chat and refreshing. Let's get rid of that tab so I don't get overstocked here. Doot. Dr. Sherman, has SCP-049 stolen the gender swap potion recently? Intern Nixora, I think you're a little bit confused. There is no gender swap potion at the SCP Foundation. Now, we do have a couple anomalies that have that effect, but the most popular of which is SCP-113, the gender switching stone. It is a small stone that if you touch it to your skin, it binds to your skin, sets your entire nervous system on fire, which is exceptionally painful, basically. But after a short time, it will have rewritten your DNA to have the other biological gender. Now, if you use this with non-binary identities, it kind of acts unpredictably. It did turn one of our researchers into a shape-shifting cat girl, which was a bit weird. So we got to be careful with this thing, especially because SCP-113 has a non-zero chance of death, meaning you're risking your life when you use it, and every reuse, that very small chance of death, gets worse, gets worse, gets worse. So we would want to make sure that you went to your on-site therapist, did the proper paperwork, dotted your I's, crossed your T's before utilizing it, because we don't want takesy-backsies, basically. We don't want to risk our staff, after all. But other than that, it is part of your standard SCP Foundation staff member health plan. So if you'd like to utilize it, just talk to Human Resources and Medical, and they'll get you started on the process. Now, 049 has a running deal with the facility right now that entity is allowed to use the gender switching stone at their discretion. For some reason, it doesn't have the same death chance that it does for our staff members. It might have something to do with 049's anomalous biology. Furthermore, I don't actually know why 049 keeps using it, but it does. Strange, but who am I to question what the anomalies are up to? And as long as it isn't hurting anybody, it's allowed to keep using the stone. It's also helping out a mobile task force on containment duties and making sure not to terminate the anomalies accidentally. So as long as it's not hurting people, making zombies, it's allowed access to the gender switching stone. Now, you might also consider SCP-6113, which is a different anomaly that causes transition, but it does so a little more haphazardly. We haven't contained this at all because we can't find it. But there's some sort of entity that shows up to non-transitioned trans people in need, takes them to this magic lake, and they come back trans, which is really confusing to their families who, how did you instantly transition? So there's a lot of disinformation and cleanup after we find someone who was transitioned in that manner. It was a whole deal. We have a whole argument on the database about how to treat entities and or subjects of this particular entity when it comes to sensitivity around gendered pronouns versus not using any gendered pronouns, because again, we refer to all anomalies as its because they are objects, not people. So please practice proper pronoun parlance protocols at the Foundation. Hey, Dr. Sherman, I'm back with the art of SCP-3086. I promised, just need the way to send them. I can't remember how. Well, as I said yesterday, if you want... Do you want me to show this on Fan Art Friday? Is this part of that? Because then you want to send it to the Fan Art Friday email. But if you just want to send it to me to see on my own time, you can send it to my business email. But if you want to show it on Fan Art Friday, it has to go with the other Fan Art Friday one. So that's the question you got to answer first. Kitty Fly, thank you for your first donation to today's stream, and thank you for making the effort to go through the Ko-Fi. As we all know, the Ko-Fi only takes 3% of your donation due to processing fees, while YouTube takes a 30% cut of every super chat. So especially for larger donations, we greatly appreciate the effort of going through the Ko-Fi to make your donation go further. For that, make sure to grab yourself a bag of cotton candy on your way past the commissary. Did you see what SCP-173 is wearing? It's a real head turner. Uh-huh. I see. Aha. Aha. So how would the gender-switching stone react to someone who identifies as a gender, but doesn't care about how they are perceived all the same? Well, the stone doesn't care... how do I put this? So if you're in the binary of genders here, if you're in the gender binary as it was known for a long time before the spectrum evolved, if you, let's say, because you're saying who identifies as a gender, but I don't know. So you're saying they identify as the other gender in this case of talking about it on a spectrum. It would still change a biological gender there. It has nothing to do with, or a biological sex, I guess, terminology. Suffice it to say, it doesn't care if you care about being perceived. It just cares if you identify as one of the binary genders versus a non-binary role. It doesn't, if you don't care how you're perceived, that doesn't matter. When an SCP-500 pill was placed against the bark of SCP-038, 038 started growing copies that were only 30% as effective. Couldn't these copies be put in SCP-914 on fine/very fine to make it 100%? Intern Hallow, that is, if 914 were predictable. And as you know very well from looking in the SCP-914 experiment logs, very often it does not do exactly what one would think. Now, if I run to the SCP-914 logs, now the problem with the logs is they're so fricking long, separated on separate pages, and under lots and lots of collapsibles, meaning it's actually very difficult to find anything in there. So when people ask me about 914, I get annoyed, because then it's a really tough search. But let me start with 914, and then log, and then let's try 500 first. So it's still bringing up just a bunch of 914s. I need to find where it has 500 in there. Relevance, date, no. How do I find this information? I'm gonna have to do it. I'm gonna have to do the whole lot. Do I have to open up everything here? 038. No 038 on page 1. Unlock all the collapsibles. I'm not going to search through these whole logs. That would take infinite amount of time, unfortunately. But suffice it to say, if you can get a hold of one of those 038 modified 500s, I would approve a test of it to see if your hypothesis came to pass. But the likelihood of the 05 giving you permission to utilize any sets of 500 to do that would probably be denied. High-Tech Priest, thank you for your first donation to today's stream, as well as being a member. Make sure to grab yourself a sandwich on your way past the commissary. And before I answer your message here, intern DJ, if you're saying someone already tried that, can you tell me in which log it is so I can investigate and answer the question fully? Those logs are just ridiculous to go through. Now, as to High-Tech Priest here. Greetings once again, Doctor. We too are interested in 914. I believe its machine spirit is in some way mad or perhaps corrupted. It does require extensive research or must be left alone. I'm sorry, machine spirit? It is just a bunch of cogs and gears. Now, some believe that it may have a sentience based on the way that it does some requests with a seeming intelligence, but we have not hard evidence of such a thing as of now. I have a question. Was there ever like an SCP Fight Club? Intern Marvin, I can't believe you'd say such a thing. Of course there isn't an SCP Fight Club, nor would there be, because that would be highly irresponsible. You could not go to the 7th floor gymnasium in the East Wing of Site 42 on Friday nights to see the SCP Fight Club that is run there, because there is no SCP Fight Club there. So not a Fight Club present in that space is there, that there's not even a rule against talking about the SCP Fight Club. Because for there to be a rule against talking about the SCP Fight Club, there would have to be an SCP Fight Club, which there isn't. And the ethics committee has no evidence of anything being the sort. $100 stars, love. Thank you for sending a 100 to today's containment hazard assessment team. I'm sure they will continue to attempt to keep it 100 at your urging. Doctor, I'm aware that an SCP 500 pill in 1-to-1 gave the pendant, but since these are clones of 500, I figure it wouldn't put the real pills at risk. Well, that's true, but that also brings to the point of what are you going to get with a detrimented clone? You're going to get something worse than the locket, and the locket's already kind of problematic as is with the whole turning you into a flesh monster and all. One second. Doot, 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 doot. Do 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 do. Should I try making SCPs? Well, Intern Lion, if you're talking about writing SCPs for the SCP Wiki, then I would say yes, because encouraging more people to make art is always a good thing. I'm a big fan of people getting into the artistry. You love to see how people put out work there, improve their craft, and end up making something that really resonates with people. If you're talking about making anomalies that I have to contain using resources and staff, then the answer is no. Please don't make SCPs. It's more work. There's already enough to contain. Agent Charlemagne came to say hi, but is always very camera shy and ran away immediately. What happens if you see a portion of 096's face, like 1/8? Will he still hunt you? Well, Intern Corsair, first and foremost, it's not a he, it's an it. All anomalies are treated like objects, not people. It is protocol at the Foundation, so please practice proper pronoun parlance protocols while working here. Secondarily, yes, if you see part of its face, you will still get got. What's your least favorite SCP? Intern Brown, as an artist, I would not say I have a least favorite SCP. It's just not my ethos for looking at the database. Even SCPs that I did not appreciate the flavor of, they are good to some other people. Just like food. I don't like all kinds of foods. I don't like all kinds of art. But I can still appreciate them being well-structured and good at what they are doing. That said, SCP 729-J is the worst. Woo! That's the worst SCP. Dr. Sherman, I'm writing my own interpretation of the Foundation where it doesn't have a stupidly high budget. Basically a more poor version of the Foundation. Got any tips on writing? Well, I mean, I wouldn't have any tips on writing outside of my general writing tips. If we're talking about budgetary, I mean, I guess my tips for a specifically low budget Foundation is you're going to be working a lot with characterization to make sure that everybody is kinda stressed out. If you're working for a low-budget foundation, you're working longer hours. We have less staff. We have less technology. More slapdash containment procedures. More containment breaches and issues and people not sleeping enough. So keep that in mind with your low-budget foundation. It's going to be a rough time, and that's what you're characterizing there. You're going to be able to tell that story not just by saying they're broke, but also by the mental toll it takes on the researchers involved. Remember Not So Slender Man from last stream. Was that just last stream? Wasn't that 2 streams ago or so? Man, time is meaningless here. Daily streams, my psyche goes a little bit haywire. All of these days are bleeding together and stretching. I swear we talked about I have no mouth and I must scream at one point. I swear I'm not crazy. Well, that piece of fiction comes up a lot in stream, actually. I'm surprised it comes up as often. I know we're a science fiction horror community, but that one in particular gets asked about very often. Which, by the way, just a conversation I was having on social media at some point, someone had the idea that you're not supposed to talk about politics in SCPs. Which, really? Really? Donald Trump is SCP-5004-B? And you don't think the SCP Foundation talks about politics? But furthermore, they then went on about how, I was only reading Series 1 stuff, and it's like, well, Ronald Reagan cut up while talking is SCP-1981. And you gotta ask yourself, why did the author choose to make that Ronald Reagan rather than any other subject? Just because the politics of that article aren't overt, it doesn't mean there's some meaning under there. So keep that in mind when you're thinking about a reminder. All art is political because it includes the biases of the writer, and therefore you can see choosing by what they choose to write about or not write about, you can see where their political biases are in a certain manner. It's not always crystal clear, but there are biases that can be examined. It's not always the most important thing to examine, but it can be looked at through a lens, which always pisses people off because they hear all art is political and then they get mad that there are pronouns involved with it. And then I have to cry tears of annoyance at having to keep dealing with these people. Anyways. Wait, put that away. That's not what I was looking for. I saw a notification here. Kitty Fly, thank you for donating to the Ko-Fi again. To say, on my cover job, when I stab ventilation holes in the fried chicken boxes, customers jokingly ask, "Are you making sure it's dead?" They don't suspect one bit that it's actually what I'm doing. Well, yes. Of course they don't expect that you're making sure it's dead. After the living fried chicken incident of 2014, it is a requirement to double tap all of the chickens just in case. It was a whole deal. There was a contamination with SCP-3199s. It was terrible. Dr. Sherman, it's on page 13, 1372 and 1386. Page 13, thank you, DJ. I will jump to page 13. As I said, damn it, there are far too many of these logs. Page 13. And you said 1372 and 86. 1372 and 86. So that's 1370, that's 1371. 1372. Researcher Luna on January 14th, 2020. Oop. Let's fix that. Stop it. There we go. 3, no correction, 4 copied pairs of sunglasses, a number 1 pencil, 1 note card reading, hi 914, I am Researcher Luna, I've been looking forward to working with you. As recently transferred from Site, Researcher Luna says, hi, I was transferred from Site 23 in order to do trial tests with items cloned by 038. If trials are successful, I'll be moving on to more hazardous items. And it introduced itself to Researcher Luna. So it handled, let's see, the note card, the sunglasses turn into an apple, the sunglasses turn into seemingly unchanged sunglasses in magnified light. After the D class was permanently blinded after looking at overhead lights, that's too bright. Sunglasses turned into perfect vision sunglasses. That's actually quite useful. All right, and then you said 86, I believe. Back to Researcher Luna. Cloned pills from 500. Okay, DJ has successfully found the scenario we are looking at here. So, if you're still here from earlier and you asked about this, this is your lucky day. We really need an easier way to search through the 914 database. In fact, DJ, I would have you let me know how you search through the database so I can utilize that in future research. So, here's an excerpt from 038's file detailing the qualities of cloned SCP-500. Document 338-2 has been noted that 038 is able to clone SCP-500. However, such pills only work 30% of the time, with a chance of successful healing dropping as time since cloning increases. In 60% of cases where the infection is permanent, symptoms of infection remain, though further infection is neutralized. Also, I'm skipping the rough and coarse test just in case it turns into something in it is heavily radioactive or it has antimatter in it or something. Input: 1 pill of cloned SCP-500, estimated a 28% chance of successful healing. At the 1-to-1 setting, the pill labeled, oh no, Dedo Immune System Fixer-Upper Pill by Dedo. Upon being ingested by D-Class, said D-Class immediately died. An autopsy revealed the cause of death was the transmutation of all red blood cells in the body into white blood cells. Body incinerated. That's not promising. Site search, open all the tabs and control F038. Okay, so you did what I was going to do, just you didn't get frustrated because you had to do so much work while live on a stream, so you were able to do it. Hey, good for you. Good for you. I'll have to keep that in mind in the future, that it is that tedious. Input: 1 pill of cloned SCP-500, estimated 27% chance of successful healing. Setting: fine. Output: 1 pill sent to Site-23 for duplication in case of beneficial properties to prevent waste of only one in existence. Upon ingestion of the pill, the D-class tester died instantly. Personnel supervising the test reported seeing SCP-049 enter the room and say something about its cure being most effective. Testing area put into lockdown. After reviewing security footage and containing Site-19, it would discover that not only did nothing enter Research Cell 109-B, but SCP-049 was observed to be in its cell at the time of the incident. Corpse and backup copy of pill incinerated. So, it was an 049 cure pill, but also it made researchers hallucinate 049? How did the pill affect people who didn't take it? Very perturbing. And now, 4 of those clones with a 25% chance of successful healing each, estimated, setting very fine. A pill visually identical to SCP-500, sent to Site-23 for cloning. After being ingested by a D-class with cancer, it was discovered that the effects of the pill have 100% chance of success, but only the symptoms and further development of the cancer was stopped. The cancer was not cured. Cloned version had the same effect, but only 20% of the time, with the success rate dropping exponentially the longer the pill has been removed from 038. D-class returned to cell and cloned instances were incinerated. So, did not do much. DJ, you do have a point. Source code is quicker than opening all the tabs. That is a hack to speed up the process slightly. Mobile Task Force Captain America, thank you for your 7 months as a Mobile Task Force Captain here at Site-42. We appreciate your membership and your service. Hello, Dr. Theron Sherman. Hello, chat. It has been a while, but I managed to return to base safely from Siberia. Maybe 1 or 2 gunshot wounds. Well, if you need any changes to your dressings, I'm sure medical can help you with that. Glad to see you made it back in mostly one piece. High-Tech Priest, thank you for donating again to say, the Cult Mechanicus has detected a data breach. Unknown insurgencies have made entrance into several site databases. Counterintelligence is ongoing. We will honor our agreement with the Foundation. Interesting. Well, it wouldn't be the first time our signal has been hijacked. It's a danger to be broadcasting anything, but it's also important that we keep up our work regardless of the dangers involved. Let me know what you find and who's playing games, and we'll make sure they lose thusly. Intern Bear the Hedgehog, welcome to Site-42 staff. Thank you for subscribing. I've never seen a live, but I'm popping in to say I love the vibes. Well, Intern Howler, welcome to your first live. We have been streaming daily for the last 10 months, almost 10 and a half months straight. And so, although we stream at a different time each day and for a different length, you should hit that notification bell if you want to come back and join us. We do these Q&As every single frickin' day, and I bring you guys the latest and greatest SCP Foundation community news, including news about the Kickstarter for SCP Gallionic, aka SCP the Anime. And seeing that we've been streaming for approximately an hour, why don't we take just a breather? See, this is already flashbanging me enough. I don't necessarily need glasses that magnify the light 5 times. I too would be blind and upset about it. But why don't we take a quick peek at the trailer for the upcoming SCP Gallionic. Currently slated to be a 15-minute anime short, unless we get it high enough to get the 20-minute mark.
So, your choice. What will it be? I'll hold tight to what little I have.
Remember that we are supporting this Kickstarter. I have already put in my funding. If you have not put in your funding, no better time than now. If you have funded it or simply can't afford to fund it, make sure you are acting as an ardent member of Mobile Task Force Psi-42, codenamed the Signal Boosters, and sharing this Kickstarter everywhere. There's still many stretch goals we can reach to make this even better than it already will be. So keep it up, Signal Boosters. Also, Keter Labs uploaded a post. The trailer they made got 250k views and 17k subs. That is excellent news for Keter Labs. I hope they keep up the good work as well. And when their Kickstarter comes up, you know we'll be doing the same for them. America, thank you for your first donation to today's stream, as well as being a member. Grab yourself some French fries on your way past the commissary. Did you miss me, boss? Also, I got you some Dr. Pepper. Well, I always do appreciate a crisp Dr. Pepper. Not sponsored. Could the Foundation use SCP-978, the Desire camera, to take pictures of random things to potentially discover new anomalies? Well, we could end up wasting a whole lot of film that way, but I guess that's possible. Dr. Sherman, the 914 logs don't show up in the page source. Fragment pages are annoying like that. Well, I thought you were looking at the page source for each individual page of the logs. So like you go to page 1, and then you open the page source rather than opening all 10 collapsibles. That's what I thought you meant. Does that not work? Do you remember the floating hand spider? Intern Marcelo, yes, of course. And the floating hand spider is quite content over in the super cool petting zoo right now, if you'd like to go over there and visit. How do you join as a member? Intern Bananas, I believe you can do that from the channel page of a channel. If you wish to become a member on YouTube, you can go to the channel page and there should be a Become a Member button. If there's not one in the chat somewhere as well. There should be a join button under the screen, I believe, next to the title of the channel. How are tests going with SCP-4521? Are the trees screaming yet? Well, Intern Lamb, there's a little, I don't know if that's a typo, but remember, all trees scream naturally. That is a scientific fact. If you can look it up. That's IRL science. The question is, why does an SCP-4521 in particular scream? because the rest of them do, so why not this one? Now, some news is, in fact, SCP 729 Test J was utilized in a test to make SCP-4521 finally scream. You can look at the logs for that thing to see the test. Now, that, I knew it was going to work. That was a baby bone test that I did not think was even necessary because I knew it would work, but someone ran that test while I was out of town. And so, with that in mind, we are still testing to see if there's anything less offensive to God and everything that is holy that will make SCP-4521 scream in a more proper manner. So testing does continue. Also, please recall, do not vandalize SCP Foundation wiki pages on Site-42's behalf, please. Please do not put a bunch of references to our inside jokes and myself in there in a way that annoys the community of us. Please. If you write an SCP and you reference Dr. Sherman, that's one thing, but please do not vandalize pages on the wiki. Be careful with that. And if you are doing something you're allowed to do, make sure it's good. Make sure the writing quality is there. Make sure it's funny. Does the Foundation work with the people who work in the back rooms? Researcher Jace, the answer is no, because Async are a bunch of greedy sons of bitches. Those Async losers bogart the entire backroom's research supply. We do have a couple double agents in their ranks that feed us some information from time to time, but we are not involved in the backrooms. We'd be way better at studying it, believe me. The reason I brought up I have no mouth that I must scream is because I was wondering what SCP you think could possibly feel that way or represent that. SCP-049, can you not guess which SCP hates humanity with an unending fiery passion and wants to destroy humanity for what they put it through? Can you not think of the SCP I'm going to say? The clear, correct answer to the SCP version of AM is 682. That is its whole MO. That's its whole thing. Come on. Dr. Sherman, they need to make an alternate box that labels the game as SCP-3301. That would be funny if they, if Escape from Site-19, today's sponsors, did put together an SCP-3301 edition. For those of you unfamiliar with it, SCP-3301 is code name The Foundation. But what it is it is a ornate silver box with a latch and silver key. Inscribed on the lip of the box is The Foundation, a game by Cryogen Studios, a division of Dr. Wondertainment. And SCP-3301 is essentially the SCP Foundation's version of Jumanji. You can see multiple rule sets, documentation of different cards, and testing and gameplay logs of different players playing it. And so you can enjoy SCP-3301 for a little bit of that Jumanji action. Intern Miles, welcome to Site 42 staff. Thank you for subscribing. What was the first SCP? Intern Brown, the first SCP to ever be written was SCP-173, the Sculpture. It was written in July of 2007, I believe. June or July of 2007. And it was written on 4chan. And then the second part of DJ's question was, if you were photographed by 978, what would the result be? Reminder, it's in the moment, not overall goals. Well, right now, if I were photographed by the Desire camera, I would probably be on set of an SCP Foundation movie or television show. Especially because I just watched... while I was at the gym, I binged on the cardio side of things, Wonder Man, which is the new Disney Plus series in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And oh my, that was actually pretty good. At least if you are a actor-centric film kind of person, because they're doing a lot in the Los Angeles film industry in the Wonder Man show. Very good. Hey, Dr. Sherman, you missed a donation. Don't worry, Dragon Gold. I'm just getting some white name chats in there too. I don't want to ignore the chat completely for donations, although I will never miss a donation. I will make sure to get to it eventually. And might as well get it since you mentioned it. The Computer Guy, thank you for your first donation to today's stream as well as being a member. Grab yourself a burrito on your way past the commissary. Your streams are also nice because if it gets late, I can listen to the stream for something interesting and make dinner. I'm making a nice pork korma. Oh, very nice for you. It's just a little side-by-side vibe. You can listen to it to fall asleep. You can listen to it while you're cooking. You can hear the conversation happening. That is why I read your chats out loud when I answer your questions, by the way, because if I don't, then no one knows what I'm answering or why I'm saying what I'm saying. So that's just chat etiquette, streamer etiquette. Doctor, how would you deal with ENA as an SCP in honor of the new trailer for the next episode? 100 stars, I don't know what ENA or the new trailer for the next episode means. What do you mean by that? What show are we talking about? Everyone's very excited about an ENA, an ENA, an ENA. I don't know what you mean. Can you fill me in? It's a Newgrounds animated series. I see. So I'll look up Anna Newgrounds and I'll see if I can find any information on it. Official trailer for the first Anna game, Anna Power of Potluck. Anna series is a Peruvian avant-garde animated comedy series published on YouTube and Newgrounds. 2D, 3D animation, blah, 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 blah. The series follows characters named Anna, with the current Annas having different appearances in each season. Season 1, trivia. Okay, so Anna is a titular protagonist in Dream Barbecue. Huh. Appearance. Feminine humanoid character, dual-colored body. Alternate forms, a green form, a human-esque form. Personality. What? I don't see anything in this that's explaining what it can do. Is this taking place, because it's all glitchy, polygonal, I'm wondering if it takes place inside a video game world or something? I do not have enough information of this to make a containment scenario, at least at this point. Is there anything you should... I'm returning to the chat to see what you guys might think is relevant to me to containing this thing. Someone is going to have to explain it to him, and it's not going to be me. Lol, Zerdrin. Lol. Also, good to see you, buddy. Yes, I have no idea based on that summary from the wiki of it, what it is capable of, what it does, why I should contain it, if it's even anomalous. So... question mark, question mark, question mark, unfortunately. Would you count Poppy Playtime as an SCP? Intern Catnap. The answer to your question is quite simple. We have a three-prong system for determining if something is an SCP. First of all, is it anomalous? Now, the scenario inside of Poppy Playtime is, in fact, anomalous technology, so that is a marker there. Is it on the SCP database? If I search the SCP database for Poppy Playtime or Playtime Co., does it come up? Now, yes, SCP-3246, codename Nyctophobia, Blind Rapture. 3246 does, in fact, contain a mention of the game Poppy Playtime. Where does it mention it? I'm trying to figure it out right now. But it did come up on the search quite clearly. Now, the thing is, while it is mentioned in an SCP document, it is not mentioned as its own SCP document. So 2 out of 3 ain't bad, but while it is anomalous, it's not an SCP. It must be anomalous and on the SCP database as its own SCP document. So wait, why can't I find where it's mentioned here? It should be right in the middle of this setting, but... it's like it's hiding from me. Well, the search function says it's in there, so that's good enough for me at this point. I'm not messing with this stupid formatting anymore. What the fuck is you on about? Intern Chad. This is the SCP Foundation. We are discussing anomalous entities, objects, and places, and whether the SCP Foundation is in charge of their containment or not. I feel like the subject of this is quite simple. I have a whole symbol here telling you what's up. Intern Gaiman. Thank you for sending a 100 as well as 3 floating hearts to today's Containment Hazard Assessment team. I am certain the chat will appreciate them and continue to keep it 100 with those beautiful hearts. Chief Captain, thank you for sending your own 100 to the chat. I'm sure that they will keep it 100 even longer, thanks to your urging. Are you patriotic, Doctor? In that I make the SCP Foundation space as best I can for my fellow people, yes. I don't know if you'd call that patriotic, but I'm loyal to the Foundation, yes. Game in, thank you for sending a couple more 100s to today's Containment Hazard Assessment team. Their duration of keeping it 100 has increased thusly, I'm sure. All right, 100 stars. You sent me a couple of messages to try to explain the ENA phenomenon. Let's see if those give me any intel I need to make this happen. ENA, character that kind of breaks reality. The one from the game and the one from the series are pretty different. The blue and yellow one is happy and sad side, that it switches between drastically. And the red and white one is a salesman and a mean one. The Laura, maybe you mean the lore is a little vague, but it kind of just doesn't want to be there. All of its limbs also detach and float, and different scenarios can affect its appearance. Is it in a virtual world? Is it in a real world? Is it something... I mean, except for, if I worry about detachable limbs, that's not a problem if they're in a humanoid containment cell locked in. I just wouldn't give them a cell with bars. I would give them a solid door to lock them in then. And Zerdrin, if it's in a virtual world, that's convenient because then we just keep it locked in a server. That's fine. Who's to say it isn't contained by us already? Have you ever thought of writing more stories with SCP-3086? Intern Dronster. Not really. Only because I have the story as it is there. I kind of created that as a standalone piece. I did have... I wonder... I know there's one other story on the database that mentions George the Chinchilla. So, if you look in Scooby-Doo, I Wanna Be Like You on the database, Scooby-Doo, I Wanna Be Like You is a tale in the, it's a spy fiction tale including George the Chinchilla and Mr. Fish, if you want to check that out. Not written by me, but someone put it on there. And I believe that's the only other mention of George the Chinchilla on site. But really, I just don't have any idea what to do with George. I mean, you just inspired me or made me remember, I don't recall which, of some lonely kid accidentally creating an iteration of George of the Chinchilla and having George be her friend because she didn't have any other friends. That's if that's not a story that I'm remembering, then that's something you could go down the line of. Question regarding SCP-096. Will it be aggravated if a D-class personnel with prosopagnosia, i.e. inability to recognize faces, will see the anomaly's face? Intern Dub. The answer is quite clearly yes, because it doesn't matter if you recognize its face in a picture that's 4 fucking pixels in size. Because you're not literally recognizing the face, you're just seeing it. And even in that little bit. So yes, it doesn't matter if you recognize the face, just seeing it is enough to get you got. Would the boiled one be considered an SCP? Again, researcher Mav. Is it anomalous? Sure. Is it on the SCP database? I don't think so. Is it an SCP document? Definitely not. So while it is anomalous, it's not an SCP. Dr. Sherman, can I take 096 for a walk just once, please? No. And for asking, I'm taking away your commissary privileges for the rest of the day. What are your thoughts on the Backrooms movie? It was recently announced that the Backrooms movie will release this year, and I want to ask what your thoughts are on it. Well, obviously, Intern Dragon, I have not seen said movie yet, but I will be seated, very much so, because the Backrooms is an internet horror big-time thing, very much like the SCP Foundation. Seeing how the Backrooms made it from a 4chan post to a movie is giving me certain breadcrumbs on how to take SCP from 4chan shitpost to feature film. Especially because with our Creative Commons, we are far less likely to be given the green light by a studio such as A24, seeing as Quantum had to take all the SCP references out of There Is No Anti-Memetics division in order to get a publishing deal. So I'm watching every different iteration of internet thing turned movie, such as the FNAF series, as in Iron Lung from Markiplier, the Backrooms, that I haven't watched that Slender Man movie that came out. I hear it's real bad. But I still enjoy Marble Hornets from time to time. So yes, long story short, I will be seated and taking notes. I'm looking forward to it. By the way, Site42 staff, we are bumping up on the 85-minute mark of this 2-hour stream. And so we are 35 minutes to the end of stream. Oh my god, they made a Slender Man movie? You didn't hear about that? Oh, I'm sorry to say. When did that movie come out? Was it just called Slender? Slender, 2016 film. Or sorry, no, 2018 film. It was not good. It was a Sony Pictures film. It has a Rotten Tomatoes of 3.2 out of 10, 8%. Woof. As I said, I haven't seen it, but oh boy, did I hear it was not pretty. Dr. Sherman, have you had any close encounters with dangerous anomalies that threatened your life? If so, please let us know. I work for the SCP Foundation. Are you kidding me? I'll tell you now that the days since last containment breach placard is in single digits still. That is why everyone here is required to join the Foundation Fitness Initiative. Because if you can run faster, you cannot get eaten. So hit the gym, people. Just because we're nerds doesn't mean we aren't strong. The Lonely Child drawing SCP-3086 sounds like a great story. I would read the heck out of that. Between streaming and day job, cover job stuff, I do not have as much time for writing as I used to, but feel free to take the content and run with it if it's something you want to put together. I encourage you all to make the art of the things that interest you. That passion is usually what allows your work to connect with other people. I started parkour, so I'm good. Lamau. Parkour! Very good. Very good. Da, 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 da. Dr. Sherman, what would you say the most important thing in your opinion in SCP sites or areas is? Intern Dragon, the answer to that is quite simply, keeping the anomalies contained. Containment breaches are the #1 way we lose a bunch of resources in needing to hire new staff, rebuild facilities from destruction. So, yes, keep the things in the boxes. What are your favorite horror movies? Oh boy, interesting question. So, the two that popped to my head the first, Cabin in the Woods, for its just general SCP vibes, along with some delightful dark comedy in the horror sense, and an SCP-173 cameo. That is definitely a top film. The Ring, the American remake of The Ring, real good. I stand by that. I've watched both the original and the remake, and I do prefer the remake in that sense. That's a rare thing to say. Dr. Sherman, what do you think of Go Home Annie, an SCP game? Intern Hatmaker, I have not played Go Home Annie, but I am interested because I hear it's a bit of a story-based SCP game, so it is one I would like to get my hands on. 173 cameoed in Cabin in the Woods. Let me see if I can find that for you real quick. Minty. SCP, Flashbang, love to see it. So there are many, many cameos of monsters and references in the scene where the girl and the stoner get in the elevator of monsters. There's a whole bunch of different references, including the tank from Left 4 Dead is in one of those cubes. But what we're speaking of here is a little statue in the background right there. And so, yeah. 173 is sitting back there. A blink and you miss it cameo. If you want to see that picture for yourself, if you type SCP-173 Cabin in the Woods, it brings up a 6-year-old Reddit post from Primal Chaos with that screen cap. There is no escaping the oratrice mécanique d'analyse cardinale. That's a catchy phrase. Catchy phrase. Boom. Do-do-do-do-do. Dr. Sherman, what do you think would happen with 035 on 999? Well, 999 doesn't necessarily have a face. Reminder, SCP-999 is a slime, and a lot of people draw it as very small with a little smiley face. But if you read the proper SCP-999 document, the first thing you'll realize is there's no facial features. It's just slime. And secondarily, it is 2 meters by 1 meter. That is a 6 foot by 3 foot slime. That is a couch of slime. So there's no face for 999 to be on. Question, if an SCP cameo is in a work but the rest of the work is unique, is the whole work considered Creative Commons or can it still be copyrighted? Intern Drawnster, when you're talking like that, you're also looking at things like fair use, cameos, and things like that. For instance, usually Disney, if you try to put a Mickey Mouse cameo in things, gets really tetchy. And so even the slightest reference could be a danger. But it depends a little on the copyright holder's willingness to get fussy about cameos and things like that. And because technically you would not be allowed to unless the copyright holder is chill about it. You're going to have to look a little more into the legal side of things. I am not a lawyer. This is not legal advice. Dr. Sherman, what is your favorite color? Well, intern murder drones, I would probably say mint green as a start, or yellow and gold are also up there. I've been reworking my superhero tale, and Jim Biggio has a plot point I'm super excited for, given the setting I built for the scenario. Coming to a new dimension, having unexpected consequences. Sounds cool, 369 Destroyer. Keep up the good work. I look forward to seeing what you put out there when you're finished. Should I add recontainment procedures in the special containment procedures or the description? I feel like it's an obvious answer, but I thought I'd ask anyways. I believe recontainment procedures, if there are specific ones, go in the conprox, not the description. Dr. Sherman, Donkey Kong is SCP-8314. By communism will win. She's back. Oh, that's shocking in and of itself. I didn't know CWW had returned. Also, have you ever been to SCP-8656? The one here at Site 169 is great. It also has a lot in common with these streams. So you're asking me to look at 2 SCPs here. Let me get those database entries before they disappear into the chat. 8314... and 8656. So starting with SCP-8314, codename Donkey Kong is dead. Rutrow. Let's start. Posted on February 6th, so that's pretty recent. And it's a fairly short article, and CWW ones are pretty apt to slap. So why don't we take a quick look at this real quick? A quick look at this real quick indeed. Item number 8314, Object Class Keter, Special Containment Procedures. Full containment of 8314 will consist of completely erasing SCP-8314 from popular memory. All forms of media and communications that feature 8314 must be identified and confiscated or destroyed. At least 99.5% of civilians with knowledge of 8314 must be located and amnesticized. 8314 is currently uncontained. Full containment is projected to occur in 25 to 30 years. Description: 8314 is the fictional character Donkey Kong, originally developed by Nintendo Co. for their 1981 arcade game Donkey Kong. 8314 is depicted as an anthropomorphic gorilla with a peaked hairstyle and a red necktie labeled DK. Prior to its development of anomalous properties, 8314 was featured in dozens of video games, which collectively sold over 200 million copies, as well as several animated cartoons and a wide variety of fan-created content. All visual depictions of 8314 show it as a corpse. This applies to both pre-existing depictions and ones created after 8314 became anomalous. In every case, 8314 will appear lifeless and unmoving, with no apparent injuries or signs of decay. Attempts to reanimate or communicate with 8314 using in-universe processes, such as necromancy or a seance, will fail. Traditional media... just to consider, let's say we're talking about Donkey Kong 2, Diddy's Conquest. I just want you to understand the absurdity of performing necromancy or a seance in that game. How is the Foundation doing necromancy and seances in Donkey Kong Country 2, Diddy's Conquest? Please think about this, friends. Traditional media featuring 8314 will remain largely unchanged. The plot and other characters will proceed as though 8314 were still alive, even if this would introduce plot holes or otherwise impossible events. If 8314's corpse is disturbed, it will respond in a realistic fashion. Video games featuring 8314 as the player character are generally inoperable, as 8314 does not respond to player inputs. Games in which 8314 is a non-player character may experience glitches when 8314 fails to act properly. 8314 is commonly treated as a defeated enemy when encountered, which can result in the corpse being thrown off-screen and or the player receiving a standard reward, i.e. if you play Smash Brothers, I assume. History. 8314 first began developing anomalous properties on April 13th, 2020, when Super Smash Bros. Ultimate players noticed that 8314 had acquired a new idle animation wherein it loosened its necktie. As news of this development spread online, players of other Donkey Kong games reported similar behavior. The Foundation became aware of 8314's new anomalous properties the following day and attempted to work with Nintendo to investigate the phenomenon. However, Nintendo refused to cooperate with the Foundation in any investigations and made no public statements regarding 8314's behavior. Of course they didn't. Nintendo is ridiculous. Beginning April 21st, all previously unaffected mobile depictions of 8314, including games, animation, etc., began to exhibit similar tie-loosening behavior, as well as slightly decreased strength, speed, aiming ability, and speech capacity. 8314 would attempt to loosen its necktie as much as once every 3 seconds, though it would return to its default state immediately afterwards. 8314 otherwise acted normally, and neither it nor characters openly acknowledged these changes, even as they worsened in severity. On April 24th, mainstream news outlets began to report on 8314's unusual behavior, which had previously been scrutinized primarily on social media and in games journalism outlets. All Nintendo representatives declined to comment on 8314. On April 27th at 7:25 a.m., 8314, including static images thereof, began to appear agitated, clawing at its necktie in an attempt to remove or destroy the garment. It would attempt to get the attention of other characters, though it appeared incapable of vocalizing during this time frame. It was, however, universally ignored by other characters, who continued to behave as normal. 8314 collapsed at 7:49 a.m. and died within 20 minutes. Past this point, 8314 displayed all anomalous properties mentioned in the description section. The event gained considerable media attention and commentary from public officials. On April 28th, Nintendo America released a statement, "Donkey Kong has died of natural causes," on all major social media platforms. The company has offered no other public or private commentary on 8314 except to reiterate this statement. This is a hella spooky haunted game creepypasta as SCP. Pretty cool. Pretty cool, C-dub-dub. C-dubs. Obviously you say C-dubs. And then, also, yes, DJ, the 8656 on campus is obviously a good spot to grab a bite if you're looking for anomalous foodstuffs. But I keep a well-stocked commissary in the case that someone is not in the mood for anomalous food. All right, refreshing the chat, coming back. Rave Haven, thank you for your 3 months as a level 1 researcher here at Site 42. We appreciate your membership and your service. Evening, Director. How many months for a dad joke? I'm confused by your question. What do you mean by that? How many months for a dad joke? Elaborate, Rave Haven. How many months do I have to be a member to get a dad joke? Oh, I see. Well, I think a member message alone is fair enough of an ask. Did you hear about the death by natural causes of SCP-8314, Donkey Kong? I tell you, well, the situation was bananas. His grandpappy was quite cranky about it. "369 Destroyer. Just found out recently that my wife likes The Back Room. She also enjoyed the Iron Lung movie, but she won't give SCP a chance, and I have no idea why." Well, I mean, depending on the, depending on what she has heard about SCP before, it is not shocking. If you watched The Rubber or Detective Void, you might have the wrong idea of SCP in the first place. Furthermore, perhaps the whole fascist over-scientific organization might just not be the cup of tea window for viewing science fiction and horror as a genre. The Backrooms is more of that liminality thing. Iron Lung, obviously Markiplier is going into more cosmic horror there. Some people just don't like the flavor of the format of the documents themselves and how that limits storytelling in a way. So, yeah, and especially it could just be that people think it's overhyped. People see all this stuff going on, they're like, oh, that's overhyped, I'm not interested. People have biases, it happens. Yes, Intern Lamb, we did Hear about SCP Secret Lab bringing 953 into the game. Should be interesting. By the way, as a time check, we are currently 14 minutes from the end of the stream, everyone. So get your last minute questions in. We are coming up to the finish. Are there any other SCPs that take the form of cartoon characters, like how 3086 is in the form of an anthropomorphic chinchilla? Intern Drawnster, I believe if I go to the tag cloud, let me see, so reminder for future reference, if I go to the bottom of any SCP article, then you'll find the tags. And by clicking a tag, it'll show you all the SCPs that are tagged with it. You come down to the tag cloud, and I do believe somewhere around here, Captain Cell Shaded Cannon. Oh, we don't have a cartoon tag. Do we have a toon tag? Toon. The Toxic Toy. Totally Soft, Too Spooky, Tool. Huh. Animated? Antarctic, Anomalous, Animated. Boom. The animated tag, well, this has a bunch of, this is basically just the page to see Ignota's pixel art. Filled up the tag there. So we have a bunch of artwork here, a bunch of art pages. Let me see if I can find a tag that's appropriate to animated entities. Starting with 3086. If I just go to SCP-3086, perhaps that might have it. Audio Contagion, Euclid, Infohazard Media, Meta, Narrative SCP. Okay, so none of those are animated. What if I go back to the tag cloud and I search toon? No. Cartoon? No. Animated? We got that one. It seems to me that we do not have a specific tag for cartoon entities, unfortunately. And thanks to the animated tag being filled with art rather than entities that are animated in a way, I would think the next task would be to search the word cartoon. So Bobble the Clown is an animated clown that is violent. That is SCP-993. If we go to SCP-OC Do Not Steal, that is SCP-3450. SCP-3450 is a, well, no, that's a text document of a fan fiction featuring characters from the Kirby video game series. So it's not animated cartoon characters, although it is fan fiction of those video game characters. Interesting. Can you guys think of any more cartoon character SCPs, specifically cartoon characters? I would assume SCP-423, codename Fred, could end up as a cartoon if going into a book that is a graphic novel or something like that. 369 Destroyer is saying SCP-8060 is basically Toontown. Well, that's interesting. 100 stars. Thank you for sending another 100 to today's Containment Hazard Assessment team. I'm sure they will continue to keep it 100 at your urging. So yes, 8060, codename Toontown. Well, it's literally codename Toontown, so there's that. And then someone else just mentioned 6080. That's DJ mentioning it. Codename Cartoon Network. And it's Eric's Cartoon Box. Oh boy, Eric, what have you done now? Well, I would have thought I had more to contribute to that. Intern Level, you are saying 1808? DJ, you're saying Fred can only appear as text. What a shame. Intern Level, those are wristwatches in the style of SpongeBob SquarePants. That transform your body in strange ways. Interesting. I wouldn't really consider that to be cartoon characters, though. Has there ever been a series about the log of anomalous items? Someone should try that. Intern Lamb, by series about it, what do you think? Are you talking about a series of SCP stories like Tales? Are you considering a show that focuses on them? Are you considering an SCP YouTuber make episodes regarding those items? I think the problem with the log of anomalous items is aren't most of them uninteresting / small enough anomalies that they're just like very bite-sized, but they're not full-fledged SCPs? Intern Mata, we are currently 6 minutes from the end of stream. 6 minutes from the end of stream. Tiger Claws, you just got back from the site gym. Arms are burning. Today was upper body day for me too, so put in the work. Get those guns. Is the Backrooms canon in the SCP world? Intern Level, let's see if the Backrooms is mentioned on the database at all. So SCP-6966-EX is titled The Backrooms. Why is it explained? But it's not actually explained. The anomaly here has infiltrated the site's administration, is actively covering its tracks, which includes the erroneous designation of itself as explained to throw actual personnel off. Okay, interesting. So SCP-6966-EX, but not really EX, if you want to take a look at that, is a main list article, not an explained, called The Backrooms. I wonder what the deal is with that if you look deeper into it. Was there anything else that stood out? No, everything just talks about literal backrooms of warehouses from there. So not a whole lot going on backrooms-wise on the SCP database. You could always visit the bathrooms, though. The bathrooms, on the other hand. Let's pull that up real quick. The Bathrooms Wiki. The architecture of our world is broken. The unwashed can't or won't recognize it, but we do. The forgotten spaces on the edge. The music of the pipes. The geometry twisted in knots by straining minds. The flowing matter in the deep darkness. The unplumbed depths of utter madness. You should have gone before you left. Welcome to the bathrooms. If you hydrate too much while exploring, you might sink out of reality and find yourself in the bathrooms. Here the air is muggy, filled with that half smell of urinal cakes, and your breath comes back in echoes. No matter which stall you pick, you'll never feel alone. This is where the real shit goes down. And then you can see a bunch of threads about the bathrooms. Welcome to the Bathrooms Wiki. It goes on for quite a bit. You're going to live in the bathrooms if you check out the bathrooms. Oh. Uh-oh. We've got a lot going on here. Oh. You thought you could escape the bathrooms. Alright. I've got a sinking feeling about this. Listen, the universe speaks of the bathrooms. Oh, we got some funkies. We got some funky bathrooms. Yes, you should definitely investigate the Bathrooms Wiki. Considering stream is ending in a minute and a half, you'll have plenty of time today. Also, it's currently rated at a positive 369, in case Destroyer is still present. To answer your question, yeah, type of show. It could be about a site that specializes in storing them. I mean, is it... But again, they're rather small-time anomalies. So would you suggest that the show is more about the characters and the mundanity of running the site? Is this like the SCP version of The Office? Ooh, I guess researcher Leo got a bit of a spam glitch there. I'm currently stuck in the bathrooms. Oh no! Intern level! You gotta get out of the bathrooms, mate. I guess I'll have to fill in the cartoon character shaped hole in the wall. Time to introduce the new SCP operative, Dr. Volar. I haven't made him yet, but it's clear he's sorely needed. Oh boy! Animated cartoon SCP agent. What a way to be. Dr. Sherman, are any SCPs missing? I recently got this gift from an old friend. The only way I can describe it is not a sphere, even though it's much more than that. So here's the... So that's weird, because I think you're referencing SCP-055, which thankfully I've taken my Nestix this morning so I can remember that we have an 055. But 055 can be described as anything. You can describe it all you want. You just can't remember what it was. You can only remember what it wasn't. So an object that can only be described as not a sphere is a completely different anomaly. And I would suggest turning that in and seeing what we can do to research it. Because while that's the same phrase, it's definitely not the same anomaly. Alright, Site42 staff, we have made it to the end of stream. And as we do at the end of every stream, I tell you guys my favorite SCPs. But of course, I'm not going to tell you the SCPs I personally wrote are my favorite. That would be cheating. But if you want to read the SCPs I personally wrote, you can go to the Sherm's author page in Site42 Hub on the SCP database, located in our support link, beacons.ai/Site42. When you head to our support link, remember, that's where you're going to see our socials. You can follow us elsewhere. Or you can follow our Kickstarters that we're supporting, such as SCP Gallionic or SCP Eye of the Beholder podcast. Meanwhile, you can also, on my author page, see all the SCPs I personally wrote or contributed voice lines or sound effects to. And one tab over from my author page, there is a list of links that contains one link that a lot of people ask about very often, but they just don't seem to find, which is rather sad for them. But you guys, you will find that link. I am sure of it. And while you are there on my author page looking at those links, you can become a Patreon patron or a YouTube channel member to help us out monthly. You can do a Ko-Fi donation or a YouTube Super Chat to donate to us once at a time. Either way, we appreciate your direct donations. They're the quickest way to help Site42 keep the lights on for myself as well as the Site42 staff, so we thank you for your generosity. Furthermore, if you're part of the Broke Gang and you cannot donate, well, don't you worry about that, because you are still a valued and honored member of Mobile Task Force Sci-42, codenamed the Signal Boosters. When you like, share, subscribe, comment, chat, not just on our videos and streams, but on the works of people we support, the SCP authors, artists, animators, game devs, filmmakers, merch makers, podcasters, etc., you are helping boost the signal of those projects, which gets them more eyes, more likely people who have the monetary funds to support, which means we get bigger and better SCP projects. Remember, Monday, SCP Gallionic podcast with decentralized pictures. Hollywood is a knockin'. We better answer people. And so I better see a whole bunch of Mobile Task Force Sci-42 codename Signal Boosters in that chat supporting. And hey, say Dr. Sherman Site42 sent you so that DCP knows to talk to me as well. I can help them out as well. Furthermore, do not forget to follow the link in our pin here to Escape from Site-19. Follow their GameFound campaign to get notified when the next printing of SCP Escape from Site-19, the board game, comes up, including the Polish edition, including the Polish SCP pack, both in English and Polish. Thank you to Escape from Site-19 one more time for sponsoring our stream. Now, Goose, you can let DJ sit on that one. They're just repeating it because it's chat culture to repeat your message until I see it. I'm not too worried about that as long as they're not sharing it too often.
They are if it's appearing 3 times in the same screen.
Anywho, Site-42 staff, without further ado, my favorite SCPs in no particular order are SCP-3999, SCP-3043, SCP-008-J, SCP-Spooky-J, SCP-5031, SCP-5175, SCP-5320, and SCP-8980. Content warning on that last one, it's a bit of a rough read. Speed round. 3999-3043-008-J, Spooky-J, 5031, 5175, 5320, content warning, the last one's a rough read. Site-42 staff. This has been Dr. Theron Sherman. This has been another Dr. Sherman's Office Hours, a subsidiary of the anomalous broadcast from Site-42. I hope you had fun. I hope you learned something. Be safe, be well, and as always, secure, contain, protect. I'll see you in the next video or stream. We've been on the run, driving in the sun, looking out for number one. California, here we come, right back where we started from. Hustlers, grab your guns, your shadow weighs a ton, driving down the 101. California, here we come, right back where we started from. California, here we come. The credit song is California by Phantom Planet. Be safe, be well, Site-42 staff, and as always, secure, contain, protect.